Hello, friends. So, today we will be talking about smoke testing and sanity testing. In previous video, we talked about the difference between retesting and regression testing. In this video, we will be talking about the difference between smoke testing and sanity testing. These two are very important interview questions. So let's talk about smoke testing first. Purpose. Basically, it is a test to check whether the most critical and basic functionalities of the software work as expected. It is typically done to ensure that the build is stable enough for further testing. When you receive the build for the first time, when a QA team receives the build, so before testing that, you first test whether the critical functionalities are working fine or not. For example, you received a login page for testing. Before executing all the test cases, you just check if you simply enter username and password and login, whether that is working fine or not with correct username and password. So it is a test to check whether the most critical functionality is login only, and that is the most basic functionality too. So it checks whether the critical and basic functionalities are working correctly or not. So suppose if login itself is not working, then what's the use of testing it, like testing the other test cases? So no need to go into detailed testing, as you can send it back. Okay, this is something is wrong. This is not working. So before starting the testing, you perform a quick smoke testing. Scope, it covers a broad set of test cases that verify whether the core functionality of the application is working. It does not go into deep detail but ensures the application can be used for further testing. So it checks whether the main functionality is working or not. And it does not do like it won't check the invalid password, invalid username, those scenarios, the negative test cases. It is a check where to decide whether to go into proper testing or not. You get a build, you check basic functionalities. If that is working fine, then you execute all your test cases. But if the basic functionality itself is not working fine, then no need to test it further. So when it is done, smoke testing is performed after a new build or version of the software is delivered, typically after deployment or integration, to confirm that the build is stable and functional enough for more detailed testing. Suppose on suppose on your test environment or on your production environment, a new page is released. So you test whether after it is released, whether the basic functionalities are working fine or not. So if the basic functionalities are not working fine, then there is an issue. You can say it is not working. No need to execute all the test cases, but the basic test cases to check if the build is working or not. Okay, typically it is performed after the deployment, after you receive the new build or the new version of the software. Basically, it is a check to confirm that the build is stable or functional. There might be issue with the deployment that it is not working. So we are checking if the build is stable or functional enough for more detailed testing or not. Example, after a new build of an application, the smoke test might check whether the application opens, whether the login works, whether basic functionality like navigation and user interface respond properly. Okay, so as soon as you receive a new build, the smoke test will verify whether it is opening or not, whether login is working, whether basic functionalities are working or not, if the user interface looks correct or not. So all if checking all the basic functionalities just after you receive the build or just after deployment is completed is called smoke testing. And after smoke testing, you perform more detailed testing. Now let's come to sanity testing. What is sanity testing? Sanity testing is a more focused and specific type of testing. It is done to verify whether specific functionalities or bug fixes are working as expected after a build or modification is made. The goal is to check if the recent changes have not broken the system and if the functionality work as intended. So it is a more focused testing. Basically, it is not done after deployment or after you receive a new build. It is done when you receive a new feature or when a bug is fixed before just suppose forgot your password button was not working earlier, then you sent it as a bug. Okay, this is not working. Now they fixed the bug and they sent it back to you. So you just click on forgot your password and enter, and it is working or not. You have to perform a detailed testing, regression testing there, but just check whether they have fixed something or not, whether the changes are deployed or not, like that. So if any specific, you are checking that specific functionality, you are not checking the entire login page, login is working. That is part of smoke testing. But sanity testing is just that particular feature or just that particular bug fix. You are checking like top, not going into detail whether it's working or not. Okay. And the login page is opening or not, like that, obviously you will check forgot your password. So that will ensure that the changes have not broken the system and the functionality work as intended. Okay. So if you see, this is this is a part of regression testing. Okay. You receive a bug fix or you received a new feature, you check that is working or not. Like the main part you check, and then you go into a more detailed regression testing. Okay. So sanity testing, if we see the scope, it is narrower than smoke testing. Smoke testing is checking all the critical functionalities. Sanity testing is just testing that particular bug fix or the new functionality. So, sanity testing focuses on a small set of features or specific bug fixes rather than testing the application overall stability. Okay, so smoke testing tests the application overall stability, but sanity testing focuses more on the features, few set of features or bug fixes. So, scope will be narrower. So, sanity testing will take less time as compared to smoke testing. When it is done, sanity testing is typically done after receiving a new build with minor changes, bug fixes, or patches to verify that the fix works and has not introduced new issues. So, when you receive a new build with some minor changes, or there are bug fixes or some updates, then you verify that it is working correctly and not introducing any new issue. Okay, smoke testing is done after you receive a new build. You check if the basic functionalities of the software are working correctly. But sanity testing is more focused on the new features that are released or the bug fixes that have been made to check if that is working correctly and has not introduced any new issues. For example, if a bug in the search function was fixed, sanity testing would check if the search feature works properly after the fix. It might not involve checking the whole application, just the area impacted by the change. So, if there's a bug in the search application that is fixed, you will just check the search functionality is working or not. That is sanity testing, and then you will perform a more detailed regression testing on that. But smoke testing involves checking the whole application. Sanity testing is just testing the search functionality, just the area that was impacted by the change. So let's talk about the summary of differences. So purpose of smoke testing is to check the basic functions of the software work. And sanity testing, it verifies that the specific functionality or fixes work as expected. And scope, smoke testing is a more broad testing. It checks major functionality to check for stability, whether the software is stable or not. Scope of sanity testing is narrower. It focuses on the specific functionality or the changes that have been made. Test depth, smoke testing test depth is shallow, just confirming that the build's basic operability. So, smoke testing, it just checks whether the basic functionalities are working. Login is working, good, page is opening, nice, like that. But sanity testing is a bit deeper because it validates the correctness of that particular functionality. You are testing if the search is working or not. You search something and it gives you the appropriate results or not. But smoke testing will be like opening the search page. Okay. So when is smoke testing performed? After you received a new build or new version is delivered. And when is sanity testing performed? After a new build with fixes or small update is received. Okay, so sanity testing is done when you introduce a new feature or some new fixes or some small updates. When some changes are made. But smoke testing is you are checking the overall stability of the software when you receive the build. Smoke testing is performed frequently, typically at the start of the testing. Okay. So whenever there is deployment, you actually perform smoke testing to check, okay, every page is opening. You will create a test suite where there will be some basic functionalities, test cases like the login is working, the page is opening, like all those test cases. So after every deployment, you run that smoke test suite. Sanity testing is performed when there is a specific change or bug fixes. Before going into testing that bug fix or specific change, you ensure that okay, everything is working correctly or not, that main functionality is working correctly or not, before diving deep into further regression testing. So example of smoke testing will be ensuring the app opens, login, and perform basic tasks. And example of sanity testing would be checking if a fixed bug now works. Okay, like search functionality that we talked about. Okay, so smoke testing is like a first pass. When you receive a new software, it is like a first pass. Okay, the critical functionalities are working fine. We can go into further testing this software. So it is like a first pass to ensure that this software is stable enough for more testing. And sanity testing is more targeted, focusing on specific changes or fixes to confirm that works correctly. So to remember that, always remember the rules. Smoke is build acceptance testing. I received a build. Is it testable or not? Just check the basic functionality. Okay, that is working fine, so I can go into further testing. Sanity testing is a part of regression testing. When you receive a new feature or new bug fix, you check first the main functionalities focused on that particular change. Those are working or not. If yes, then you can execute all your other test cases. I hope you found this video useful. If yes, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.